What was your thinking of doing that?
Well, I'll answer part one about how long it take to do it. Is we rehearsed it. I remember it being longer than you do. It was 3 weeks and change. That's what I felt. Sometimes you say two. Two and a half. We shot it in 6 days, and they were just the most intense 6 days of filming I've ever had. And the part I remember most of the shoot was just the rehearsal. We sat around a table and worked on it a lot, and then we would go out to this real motel room and we would run it there while they were building the soundstage. And then when we went in there, we would we would do 10, 20 pages at a time. And that's the thing, when the DV cameras were first coming out, you guys would be constantly filming us. We would do it, we'd take 10 pages of the script, do 10 pages in a row, do 10 pages in a row, do 10 pages. We'd do that same 10 pages over and over again. But it would be these really long takes.
Most movie sets, I'd say the camera's rolling, say in a 10 hours a day, the cameras are rolling, what, 80, 70 minutes?
Tops.
Maybe 45 minutes. That same 10-hour day, the cameras were rolling, and you guys were
9.5 hours.
Or
yeah,
at least 9.
Yeah.
There's a lunch in there.
It was just so much acting.
And it was sort of like a hybrid. It was a hybrid between theater and film. Like, we had 2 cameras. I had one, and Maurice Alberti, my director of photography, had another. And we were just going. These little cameras, the Sony digital cameras, kind of a little consumer item back then. You could shoot just endlessly. You could shoot an hour. So we'd roll 15 minutes straight, which in films. So they were kind of performing it live like a theater production. And despite the way it looks with all those different shots, it was we would have two cameras kind of on the same thing, and when the other actor would talk, we would reposition. And so it was always going to be very cutty, but in actuality, we were shooting it just really lengthy takes.
And when the swish pans that you can't say about, but I remember I would call you after we finished shooting because I was really excited about the movie. We worked hard on it, and I'd call and see how it was going. And I've never heard you more tentative about how editing was going. I mean, it was a lot of work, I think.
I had this idea, well, it's an interesting challenge, this movie. It's a one-room movie, and it's in real time. So I remember in the 6 weeks or so leading up to this, we were like, well, we had this idea, we had that serious conversation, like, we could, outdo Hitchcock and make it in one take. The cinematic, wheels are turning. I'm like, yeah. But then it's a stunt. It's kind of a cinematic stunt, and there's just too much going on. So I remember jumping from that idea. I thought for a second, well, we could put like 100 surveillance cameras around the room and just have it
That's
all
kind
captured.
of what you did.
Yeah, with these 2 cameras, it was, I don't know, I remember it being a big challenge, but thinking, oh, it's also very freeing because, most movies it's continuity, but we're real time, and there's no question of where you are, so continuity kind of went out the window. We could jump around, and I had this kind of visual image of, those David Hockney collages, where they're photo collages, but you'll see one thing from a lot of different angles. I was starting to think about that as the idea of memory refracted through 10 years, and you'd see this event through so many different angles.